Here is a new mental model framework that will help you understand Web3 stack and the building blocks behind it. Recently, the Block Research issued annual report around the digital asset outlook. What I found the most interesting is the new model that the Block is proposing in order to explain the Web3 landscape, the stack, and the building blocks of this whole idea. So I'm talking about it because from the whole report, for you as a business person, it will be highly valuable to understand how you can put the mental model in your head around the Web3 itself. It could be better for you to identify where is the opportunity that you can grasp, or to understand what are the layers and how you can experience the Web3 itself. The framework is called the DAPP framework, or the DAP framework, which stands for Doors, Applications, Primitives, and Protocols. And I found this idea really interesting. It's similar to the previous ideas around how to explain the Web3 stack. However, I think that this kind of semantics, it's really helpful for people that are not really tech savvy, and especially for the people that are outside of the space, because it gives you a really direct idea of what is the purpose of the specific layer in the system itself. The doors, as the name suggests, it's about all of the solutions that are giving you the possibility to access and interact with the Web3. So we have wallets here, like I think the most famous one, the MetaMask, which is basically no more, no less than your browser add-on, which you need to set up in order to interact and gain access to all of the rest of the things that you can find in the Web3 world. The applications layer, it's all about your user experience. So the applications layer, you can think about just typical website, because this is what it is. It's either website or native mobile app. However, the main purpose of the applications layer here is to connect users with protocols and primitives from the Web3 world. It's the front end that you are familiar with. It's the website that you are familiar with. The technology at the front end itself is the same as in Web2, with the difference that it's also connected to the Web3 and it's taking advantage of the Web3 infrastructure itself. So then the next layer is primitives. You can think about it as on building blocks. So we can think about primitives as a stack of different Lego bricks, where each one of them is focused on some specific purpose. You can build on top of that your own application. You can even build your own primitive that is using already existing primitive, on top of which you can also build your applications. And then there is the protocols layer. So all of this magic, this technical magic that is happening on top of the blockchain, this is the layer that is more like foundation for all of the things that are happening on top of it. So all of the blockchains, all of the layer 1 solutions, all of the layer 2 solutions, like scaling solutions, for example, all of the layer regarding the consensus, execution, the data, and settlement layer are laying here. So if you are a business person and you would like to jump into the space, either as a user of the space, or as a founder, a builder, and so on, deep dive understanding of what's happening on the protocols layer, I can say that it's not really required for you as a business person in order to deep dive into Web3 and do something there. Start with understanding I need some doors in order to access and interact with the applications. And applications are totally the same to what I'm used to already in Web2. Like there's no really a huge difference besides the differences that are coming from the user experience itself, from the doors, and from how I need to interact with the primitives. As an user, for me, the doors and applications, it's all that I need to know. As a builder, then when I need to also know the primitives. So putting it from different perspectives. As a user, all that you need to know is you need to know about the doors layer and you need to know about the applications layer, because you need to have access to the applications that you would like to use. That's simple. That's the first perspective. The second perspective, from the builder perspective. So you are a business person, you want to build something in the Web3 and you don't really know how to grasp all of these concepts. Then besides the doors and applications layer that you need to be aware of, then there is a primitives layer. So it's all of your library of the Lego bricks that are waiting for you to take them and build something on top of them. You don't need to start from scratch. This is really great. Then in most of the cases, you don't really need to know about the protocols layer. You don't need to know that. You need to know that they do exist, but in terms of really understanding the deep dive of how do they work, how all of the layers around consensus, execution, settlement, and data, how all of this work, in most of the cases, this is really not needed. The protocols layer are more like commodity. So you can treat it as on all of the other commodities that you do have, that you are used to, that they are just there. You don't even always think about how they work. Like, for example, electricity. This is what I do think. It's not really necessary for you. It is necessary for someone in your team to understand that, or to have help from people like us to understand, okay, which one of the providers should I choose? Summing up, the doors layer, here is your access to the Web3 world. The applications layer, these are the applications that you are interacting with. And then we have like primitives, which are like products for you, Lego building bricks. You can just take them, use them, build on top of them, shorten your time to market. This is really important stuff. And there is like protocols layer, which is where the all blockchain magic is happening. However, you don't need to know all about that. So that's all, the DApp framework. Final thought, I wouldn't say that all of the proper mapping is done here. We can think about putting some of these building blocks on the application layer, or even think about that some of them are both application and the primitives layer. However, I do understand that just for the sake of putting nice picture, this is already good enough. So I do think this will help business people to understand the mental model behind the Web3. If you have questions about the model itself or different ways to explain Web3, please let me know and reach out to us so we can chat.